Hello all, it's only Q&A again. Let's push that up a wee bit. Hey! Fantastic. Quality video skills as always. We're in the shed Brie, probably for the last time this year. I'll get shut up soon because I end up putting the sun loungers, which my wife insisted on buying and then sat on once, in here to save them for the winter on the off chance that one day she might use them. Hush but fairly. Right, okay, so this week, firstly in the introduction, I'd like to say a big hello to Rafael, as Casper, who I met at Sainsbury's, who done that thing, kind of like, you're that guy out of YouTube. Yeah, mate, I've just got to chase this fork truck driver because he's got my paperwork. And then I went outside and then I've done that thing. I thought, he's going to think I'm ignoring him. Then I went to find him and I couldn't find him. And then he appeared at the front of the lorry and we had a big chat. It's Class 1 driver, thinking about joining the exchange. We had a good chat. Nice guy. Mate, thanks for watching. Right, so this week, obviously the big thing, the fuel shortage. The driver shortage and the fuel shortage. We've all been feeling it. It's been a bit of a shocker. There we go. So, but what have you guys got to say about it? I wrote what I had to say about it. But, I mean, I did do that thing. Something I did actually meant to say was part of the pain also is the AdBlue. Because when you do a lorry, you do the fuel and you do the AdBlue at the same time on the pump. And you don't have to do the AdBlue on the pump. You can do them on the plastic bottles. And of course, I've been doing it on the plastic bottles. I will do one on 7.5 tons on AdBlue because my one is a pain to try and get the nozzle in. And then sometimes they jam. They go tunk, tunk, tunk. 13p, 15p, 17p. So you're doing with the bottles, but the bottles don't stretch far enough. It's kind of like trying to milk a cow backwards. What you do is you squeeze them. If I could play the bagpipes, I'd be fine. But we'll do more on that. That's one of my many videos that I'm backing up in my little black book here. If I owe you a video, they're here. I'm getting through it. Just give me time. Anyhow, so domain name guy. He says first they had a driver shortage, now the drivers that can't drive anywhere because there's no fuel. He says it's hilarious. And I've got to choose, and then for every truck that fills up, it means 10 cars can't. It is the thing, isn't it? I mean, the truck one, I've turned up at, like, say, 3:30 in the morning, there were 20 rigs in front of me. Those rigs will take 300 litres. I take 100 litres, I guess. So, but having said that, no rig, no Tesco's, no Sainsbury's, no food. We'll start moaning soon, won't we? He says, I'm watching a driver shortage and chaos as an unemployed 7.5 ton agency driver, ex-multi-drop, just quietly adding domain names to my portfolio and fine-tuning my stock market skills. I've thought about this before because there's an app that come up. I watched this guy, Colin Furs. He's brilliant. He's this crazy geezer who just makes stuff. He makes stuff like exploding backpacks and hydraulic bikes and an underground bunker. And he's great. If you don't get me wrong, the guy's got 11 million subscribers. He doesn't need you to watch him, but it's really fun. And one of the things one of the guys who plugged his channel, I've got the circuit mod plug in mine, I do stuff for them, was like the stock market thing. And I thought, I wonder if you did have 50 quid or 100 quid. Or maybe more if you have you can get one of these apps and when you're sitting on a bay, have a look at it, see how it goes. If you did have a little bit of money and think I'll try it once and if I lose it I lose it and if I make a bit I'll maybe keep going, it would be something. I might do one also on things to do when sitting on a bay. I once met a geezer, a truck driver, he had a ukulele, he was learning to play that. I thought, well, that's impressive, better than looking at YouTube, isn't it, surely? If you're sitting on a bay looking at YouTube right now, you remember why don't you, as a kid, go off and do something less boring instead? Go buy yourself a ukulele. I'm not going to advise you at the stock market. You might lose your house. Paul Slight said he did Huddersfield to Hastings, then Brighton to Woking on a full tank. In a hotel now in Woking with 50 miles left in the tank. I said, I've got a full day's jobs backed up to Huddersfield to do tomorrow. Every single station I passed, and that's 12, had nothing. He said, just going to drive to the M3 services at 6 AM, park up until they get a delivery. Joys of driving for a living. In fairness, it really doesn't happen that often. I mean, I remember I had a fuel crisis before. The last fuel crisis I know that was this bad, I must have been 20 years ago. So I ain't going to cry too much about it. These things do happen. It'll come and it'll go. Glue Eugen says, it's so frustrating when you find 1 out of 10 SOs with diesels. I have a car for SO only, and they say you can only put £30 in to be fair to everybody, but you still have to make 240 mile. I did have a result. I don't know if I said it, but I pulled into one station, and it had a thing on the pump. It was BP. Good for me because I'm BP card. I've got a Keyfields card as well, or can't remember which one it is. And I pulled into the station, and it had a little ticket on the pump, and it said £30 minimum for everybody, except for emergency workers and HGV drivers. So I got to fill up. Well done then. Thank you. I said to the lady, I said, it's not like I've got to deliver, you know, it's like, well, I've got to deliver it in London, but I'm going to drop it in Watford because I haven't got enough fuel to get to London. I am only going to have to go to the next station and buy the diesel. I'm not nicking diesel out of someone else. I'm not doing only necessary journeys. This is clearly must be a necessary journey, because otherwise they would ask me to deliver it. So, I don't know, it's my defence. I hope that's good enough. Gavlov says, he says, I've been praying to Jesus for over an hour for more petrol. Be honest with you, my friend, that's not really Jesus' thing. He's pretty much big on the fish and the bread. Diesel, not so much, like, you know. So, you know, wine. He's good on wine. I seem to remember I read the book sometime. Either that or saw the film, I can't remember actually. Robert Powell. Is he really Jesus? Doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that might have been born in sort of Jerusalem. Really. But hey, what do I know? Original Aqua R says, I'm not even getting fuel. It's not even getting the fuel that's annoying. It's the waiting time that's affecting the ETA of the drops, the pickup that's killing me. Now, I get that too. You turn around to someone, you say, I'm going to be there at 11 o'clock. And then you've had to spend an hour going out of your way, trying to find a petrol station, or queuing for petrol, and then your diesel, and you get there and you're an hour late. Well, you're an hour late because I couldn't get any fuel. I think it's fair enough. I think they're going to... I don't think anyone who didn't just go, that's fair enough, mate, would be churlish. Ian Merrick. He says, I've taken the last 2 days off out. He said, I've drive 15 miles out to 3 local stations. Day 1, no fuel. Day 2, 2 out of 3 have fuel, but the queue's so long that I would be late for my regular gig. Day off tomorrow anyway for an oil change and diagnostics. New indicator may have disturbed the seat or something like that. Hopefully soon back to normal. You have made me feel better, because I spoke to an Arctic driver. I spoke to a rig driver, and he turned around to me and he said it was absolutely crazy leaving sort of London, Romford or wherever he was on like the Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, he said, I went up to Scotland, they had nothing. I went, no fuel at all. He went, no, there was no aggravation. Everybody was just behaving normally. And then I kind of felt, I'll be honest with you, I felt ashamed to be English. I thought, obviously, we're behaving terribly, but everybody else up there maybe is actually behaving normally. But from what you tell me, it's pretty much countrywide. And I can understand why it is. To me, it's like that Ben Elton thing, you know, he's pushing in. So the way I look at it is, we go, well, I'm not doing it. Do you remember the Ben Elton thing on the train, where he says you're standing in a queue, and the guy starts pushing in front of you, and you go, he's pushing in, he's pushing in, he's pushing in, and then you go, well, if he's pushing in, I'm pushing in. So I think what happens is, 100% of the people, 80% are fine, but the 20% that aren't affect the 80%, you know, the 60 to 80% will go, no, I'm just going to do it fine. And you watch it and you go, hang on a second, he's like, that's not right. Well, if he's doing it, I'm doing it. So then they do it. Then the 60 to 40% that will go, well, I'm just going to get the fuel I need. Go, hang on a second, there's a big queue here. And if I wait, I'm going to end up with no fuel. You know, I'm going to turn up in 3 days' time when I need it. I've got to take the kids to school. I can't do it. Right, I'm going to have to go and do it then. I think it has a domino effect. I think people are basically good, but, you know, you're scared. You got to look after your family, you got to feed your family, you got to get to work. You think, well, I ain't got a lot of choice here. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's a shame. Still can't get used to having bins. Van on a run. Hoping it all calmed down soon. People's fuel tanks are only so big. It's fair enough when they're all full up. They're doing their usual journeys. You can't fill up. You can't fill up twice, can you? And I'm sure people will only do essential journeys so their fuel tank will last longer. Are you? Oh, I hope you're right, mate. Obviously, a different story for those of us that work in transport. Yeah, quite. So, London Creative. Hello, Nick. How you doing, mate? Thanks very much. I will get around to Rat Race. He's teaching me all about YouTube and ramping. He's got his own channel out there, London Creative. It's all about climbing and videos and stuff like that. If you do get a chance, please have a look. Everyone loves a subscriber. He said, of course, the army vehicles all run on petrol, so they don't care how much diesel they transport, and they have their own petrol pumps in barrack grounds, or whatever you call it. But at least they're maybe getting out and getting the tankers on board. Some people could argue it's a little bit late. I've always had this wonder about the army being trained not just to fight people, which is obviously they do. They keep us liberty. They stop people invading. But at the same time, if you could train them for like national emergencies and be like international rescue, you know, where they could actually sweep in if they're like a landslide or something like that, and they come in all the things. I don't know, that'd be great, you know. But in the meantime, I mean, I understand that it costs money to mobilise troops, and it's all taxpayers' money. So you go, yeah, okay, you want us to go and sort your bridge out, Peter, but at the same time, do you want to like pay an extra penny in your pound? No one wants to do that, don't they? So I guess it's just down to Scott and Virgil to sort it out. What do you mean they're not real? Actually, now you come to say, oh, yeah, that was always the problem with Thunderbirds. They obviously were acting. The acting was always a bit wooden. Dale Steele says, agency taking the profit out of it. Companies to get better at recruiting. I don't know, Dale. I think really if you just pay the money, you get the drivers back. It's kind of my plan. And Julian Rugg, it's the final word on this one. It's no shortage of drivers on the CX, Pete. No, you're dead right, Julian. I think that's down to some geezer who keeps making videos about it. I think he's encouraging people to join. Yeah, it's not good. If I ever get my hands on him, I'll tell you, I'll have him. Right, I did one on pallets, because I ended up with that pallet place, didn't I, with the blue pallets. Longfinger says, the blue ones are the rented ones. You only get a quid if you weigh them in. Most places don't want them. I'm amazed you get a quid. Every time I've had to drop off a blue pallet or a red pallet, they've turned around and said, we don't pay for them. I've never understood it. Because they're rented, we don't pay for them, because the people that own the blue pallets won't give us the money when we give them back. And I would have thought, well, don't take them then. Just burn them. Don't give them back to the blue people. It's something that probably pallet people understand. I don't get involved. And also, as Godzilla said, blues, he said, not what you call light. He spent his day in Oxford on stone-built houses, and he said dropped in London at 40 miles. London is not as he says, London is not a delightful place. Is it wrong to want a stainless lance attachment to the front of my van to spear morons? Absolutely not, my friend. I see no problem with that. While you're at it, we'll also have a couple of rocket launchers, some guns out the front, a metal shield, and an oil slick. New Bond film's out. I'll get around to it eventually, maybe. Probably wait till it comes on the telly. Wait and return. We did one on wait and return. Adam North says, what if, right, okay, a couple of questions here, fair enough. What if you pick up, then drop back to the original collection for a second drop? Do you charge them the empty mileage on the second collection? In short, no. What you would do is you would pick up, drop it off, and do the return. That's one job. You charge them for that, real money on the way there, backload on the way back, and then for the second job, you would charge them real money. So you would charge them how much. Again, that is, I said, I did say that in the video. That is kind of one of the problems with wait and return. That if it returns you to not far from your house at 2 o'clock, do you then want to take another job going distance? So if they said the job is here, then drop off, then come back, then drop off, you're going to have to factor that into the fact that you know you're going to be doing dead miles coming back. Again, like I say, I wish I could give you all a graph to say if you're here at this time and the job is this, you charge this and you will win. It don't work like that. It's much more organic. It is much more a kind of, you have to feel your way through, like, you know, sort of, but I'm sure everybody, I think you'll get it as you go along, like, you know. So, Ian Coyne says, do you charge waiting time if it's over an hour? Yes. Yeah, we've had jobs like that before, where particularly with the trucks, I mean, if you're in a van, you charge waiting time if it's over 20 minutes, but with the trucks, you get an hour free every time. But if we go to somewhere, and it happens frequently, I mean, I was speaking to Gordon, he was on a bay for 3.5 hours the other day. He said, I'm just getting used to it. He said, I was doing JD Sports before this, go to a shop, drop off the stuff. He said, you just open up the back, they take it out, go to the next one, drop off the stuff, go to the next one, drop off the stuff, go and do that, back to base. He said, I'm sitting on base for 3 hours. I said, you're fine about it? He said, yeah. He said, yeah. I said, what'd you do? You'll read a book or something? He said, I'm thinking about taking a book, read my YouTube. Once you know you're going to do it, you prepare yourself for it. Again, ukulele, banjo. But yeah, no, if I'm on a bay for more than an hour and it looks like I get up 3/4 of an hour, I'd ring them up and go, look, here's the situation. I'm sitting on a bay. They haven't tipped me yet. I'm hoping if it went over an hour and a quarter, an hour and 20, I still wouldn't charge them, because it happens. If it's into 2 hours, over 2 hours, then I'm going to go, look, I've been sitting here for 2 hours. I'd rather not have it though, because you're charging them 40 quid for basically for dropping off at 2 hours. Sometimes you can get there, open up the curtain, it's off in 5 minutes. I'd rather, you know, it works out £20 an hour. It's not great in a truck. But it is what it is. You're going to have to prepare yourself for this if you run trucks. Domain name guy says you make your money again on the wait and return, but he would say don't take the extra job. You make your money, you walk away. Same principle applies to this daily trading thing. You might want to give us a heads up on this the stock market thing. I might pass it on to the guys. Yeah, just take your money, walk away. He said with the stock market thing, he said you look at it all the time, you end up losing the money that you've got to leave it alone. If you keep looking at it, you end up making it and then losing it. I suppose it's like gambling, isn't it? If you gamble all the time, sooner or later, I'll take it back. Again, stock market is something I don't understand. But if you want to give us a few tips, I'll always pass them on to anybody who wants to play. Godzilla's. Oh, now this is a long one, but I thought it was worth putting in. He said that because he done one on wait and return. And this is another example, as I always say, not every job goes according to plan. He said the irony on this is surreal. All I've done today was wait and return. That means he's done one wait and return job in a day. He said I priced it and it went very wrong. Priced at 36 miles, so £40 minimum rate. Then the minimum rate, so you then return money, so half rate coming back. Basically, no. Again, I like it. No time wasted. No dead miles. He basically worked the job out to be 80 quid, and then he said I charged £85 just because I couldn't help but putting a bit extra on. So it's 36 miles wait and return. He's charged him 85 quid. Should take an hour each way. With an hour wait and call it half an hour just messing around trying to sort the job out, like, you know. He said it should be about 3.5 hours in total, which is fine, you know, kind of thing. He said all was good. He said then there was roadworks, went 15 minutes to collection, took 3/4 of an hour instead of half an hour because of the roadworks, and then the pallet was too heavy. He said nearly killed myself and placed it on to get sorted. Then it collapsed. Then the fork truck driver moaned. He said it's an hour and a half waiting, arguing to get it back. Oh, it's something to do with American pallets. Yeah, American pallets are a pain. The second guy was a nice guy. Long and short of it is a combination of pallets collapsing, American pallets, getting to the next place, which was securely padlocked because they were on break, undone the padlocks, got in, and second he got in, the fork truck drivers went on break. He said the whole thing just went absolutely sideways. And then he says, never mind, toodle pip. Not all jobs go according to plan, you know, but you don't not quote a wait and return because you think it could go wrong, because any job could go wrong. You were just unlucky, mate. I'm sorry I read that so badly. The writing's not very large, and the old Eric Morgan, so maybe I might have to go up to a +2 or something. I don't know. Anyway, miscellaneous. What we got this week? Christian Gray. This is a great video, Pete. Thanks, Christian. I think you're going. Hang on a second. Let's just work out what's going on here. Lots of people hope to start on their own. Good luck. Hang on. Let me pause this a second. Yeah, it's very, very complimentary. And then he says, £300 a month to pay for a freelance transport manager. Download my taco. I'm in the wrong job. If you've got £300 a month for the transport manager, that's actually quite cheap. If he's only doing one lorry, that's maybe not so cheap. I mean, my transport manager, superhero Daniel Garumba, hello mate, he charged me £300 a month for 3 lorries, but he's a mate and I do most of the work myself. I do the downloading, I try and keep on top of it. I mean, we had a couple of infringements later, Gordon messed up, but he did apologise, you know. We're trying to keep bang on top of it, like, you know, and this week was utterly clean. It depends. Yeah, you can always try and do the transport money thing yourself, but it's apparently very, very difficult. And there's a folder like that. It's something maybe I will approach one day, but in the meantime, I've got other things on my plate, like, you know. Ray Zumba says, "Good morning. How much do you quote on rigid trucks, please? We quote at the moment normally about £2.50 a mile on a 7.5 tonne and £3 a mile on the. I've got between £2.50 and £3." On the 7.5 tonne, £3 and £3.50 on the bigger ones, and then on the minimum, we normally pay about £2.50 a job. Although we try and get £300 first one, and the prices are increasing slightly. Although I have found as I've increased my prices slightly, I am getting far less jobs. So it kind of is around about the same thing, like, you know. Tifioso Cornwall makes a point. He says HGV shortages in the UK. He said, but there are coach drivers, tour drivers at the moment. He said, where I live in Cornwall, all the coaches are parched up, but the yards are not really being used. As these drivers, because they can't do it because of the COVID thing. People aren't doing coach tours now. They've got CPC licenses with full PSV licenses, but with a CPC, and they're experienced coach drivers. I spent years driving 57-seater coaches all over the UK. He's kind of saying, well, I might not be able to drive an Arctic, but I certainly could drive. I might be able to drive a rigid. You could certainly drive a rigid if you can drive a coach. You can certainly drive a 20. You could drive an 18-ton standing on your head. So you could still probably drive 26s. So an argument can be made. If there's a driver shortage, maybe one of the plans would be to relax the rules between PSV and HGV. Because I can never really understand why you have to have a separate licence to drive a bus as you do have to drive a lorry, when effectively, to me, it's the same vehicle. It handles the same. It works the same on the roads. Obviously, I'm wrong. But if anyone out there knows why, please let me know. Because at the moment, I don't see why. If you could change the rules to go where we're going to let PSV drivers drive HGVs, that would go a big way to solve the drivers' shortage, wouldn't it, really? But don't know. What do I know? David Parks. He said, hey Pete, any drivers looking for Northern Ireland or Ireland, let me know, as he provides customs documentation service. I've written you a little link, David, with my phone number. If you want to pass me on your details, if anybody needs documentation for Ireland, apparently we've got a guy. We'll see how that one goes. Andy Simmons says he's also very helpful. He said, because we said about refrigerating vans, he said, I drive a home delivery van for Tesco's. These things have compartment, ambient, chilled and frozen goods. The maximum payload is 850 kilos. So there you go. The fridge does weigh something. Gula Eugen says, right, we were going about small vans versus big vans. He said, he had a Fiat Scudo minivan. He said £90 a week fuel. He said, now I have a Luton, £400 a week. When you calculate all the costs, the Scudo was bringing in more money. More jobs a day because you don't have to stay in distribution centres for ages. Plus the Luton means you'll work longer days for the same money. So I still recommended Luton vans, but I recommended Luton vans because that's what I used to run in. It strikes me the more and more I talk about it, the more an argument seems to be being made for small vans. End of the day, you do you. MKL. Hi Pete, do you recommend any van insurance companies for man and van or furniture removals or deliveries? And someone else asked me about, Layered Back Barbershop. Hi Pete, how much do you pay per month roughly on insurance costs, general business insurance, on a lorry setup? Just trying to work out the rough outgoings. Mate, we pay round about £1,800 a month, but again, the answer to both of this is insurance has so many imponderables. It's how much is your no claims bonus? Where are you going to park here? Where are you, sort of what kind of vehicle you got? There's just too many for me to actually give you a concrete price. I will say we use Business Choice Direct. I will also tell you that they pay me 50 quid if you sign up for a policy, because he's lovely, Tristan. He's actually, I want somebody signed up last week. But I don't say it for the money. We use them because we find them good and we find them very cheap. There will be a link, because like I say, they pay me if you sign up, so it's in my interest to do you a link. But don't take my word for it. Get as many insurance quality, get the best insurance for you. At the end of the day, I want you to be happy. It's not about dough for Pete, although cheddar cheese is nice. It's more about you guys doing what you need to do. So, but I will do you a link anyway, just in case I get a McGarrett out of it. Nice. Ross Webb. Looking into setting up a small transport business on a limited company, either with 7.5 or 18 tonnes with a tail lift, and he's thinking about a HIAB. Is there much work for a HIAB? Did a video very recently, Ross, about specialist vehicles on the CX. There are HIAB jobs. If you get the HIAB job, chances are you get it for big money. On the whole, though, if you've got a specialist vehicle, the jobs for specialist vehicles are few and far between. Most jobs are for Luton, box, rigids, tail lifts. You will get the Moffat jobs, you will get the HIAB jobs, you will get the flatbed jobs, but they're 1 in 20, maybe more than, or maybe less than that. So you get maybe ADR would be the one that pings up the most, but they are there, but they ain't there often. So that's the bottom line on that one. Pete Fletcher spoke to a salesman at VX. He said the fee has gone up. No, you don't say. One day they'll stop putting their prices up. He says they've gone up for the early views. He said he's planning to leave the army. He said a Luton charge £1 a mile. Is that per pallet or whatever I can load on. Well, firstly, it's for whatever you can load on, but secondly, that's the first time ever I've heard any salesman at CX actually undervalue something. He said you charge about £1 a mile in the Luton. I actually think if you charge £1 a mile in the Luton, you'll win 80% of the jobs. Most Luton jobs at the moment are more than £1 a mile. 110, 120, 130. But it depends where you are. Competition where you are might be fierce, but on the whole, most people I know we will pay more than £1 a mile in the Luton. So that's some good news. At least they're not. At least whoever was selling you it was on the level. Which surprises me. I shouldn't really, but it does. Sandra and a whiskey and Sandra says, "Hi Pete, I'm thinking of a factoring company. I've got quite a nice deal, but I'm wondering, is it normal that they want me to be a guarantor and asking me how much my mortgage is, etc." Yeah, they're lending you money. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as, don't worry about it. As long as the CX is valid, you will do the jobs, the invoices will come in, they will get paid, that's fine. As long as you do the jobs on CX, you should be fine. Obviously, be careful with lending too much, doing too many jobs for some person. Check people's feedback. But on the whole, I know people get kind of scared about whether the dough's going to come in, but it does. So, yeah, that should be fine, my love. Yeah. Addy the Real Slim Shady, he says, when you look on the CX Who's Nearby, you can see yourself in icons which are green and available and red that are not available, and you see blue numbers with van details. The question is, what are the blue ones, not the green or red, and are they available? I don't know. I know I should know more about it, but being the fact that I have seemed to have accidentally become the poster boy for all of this, I'm pretty clueless, which I've said all along, and most of the stuff I say is wrong, or at least largely erroneous, so please take it with a pinch of salt. But if anybody knows what the blue icons are, please let me know. I could ring them or text it, but I can't be bothered. Where Did My Life Go says, how much they pay per mile, mate? Anyone? There is a video on, I'll do it there, I did say it depends on which van you've got, but there is a video somewhere on how much to charge a mile per or something like that. If alternatively, let me know what kind of van you've got and I'll let you know. And Sean Robertson says, he said, you've got 0 time between drops. He said, the biggest pain I have is writing out PODs, never mind putting out videos. Where do you find the time? He thinks I'm a CX planter. Proper couriers haven't got time to make videos. I think that actually warrants a video. Where do I find the time to make videos? It probably isn't that important. It doesn't help you guys on how much to wait and how much to charge and all that kind of stuff. It might be vaguely entertaining. And as for, am I actually a plant for the CX? I will give you the same responses I give to anybody who ever asks me that question. If you think I'm actually working for the CX, okay. In conclusion, you only got one conclusion. It's a new guy, Ricky Davidson. I hope you made it to the end of this video, mate. Ricky Davidson says, hi Pete, after decoding the secret message hidden within your Chep Pallet episodes, I took your advice and attached a tail lift to my Citroen Picasso. I'm confused. The rear axle has snapped and I cannot locate Yarddale where you promised magical payloads. Having said that, I look forward to deciphering further comms regarding peering through the Luton curtain side of Maudsley, and is it Maudsley? Maudsley, and you guarantee looking into thine own mind's eye. Well, Ricky, did you remember to play it backwards? If you play it on 78 and you wind it backwards, that's where the secret message is, my friend. I don't know what any of it's all about. Right, gotta go. We've got people coming in 10 minutes. I've got to go and get changed. I'm not even going to go there. I have got clothes on. I've got trousers on. I don't even know. No. Anyway, yeah, nonsense. I've got people coming in 10 minutes. So I will try and get this uploaded by tomorrow at 6:30. Hope you're all well. Take care. Take money.